Praise the Lord. Here we are again in the house of the Lord to study God's precious Word. We've been studying out the book of 2 Samuel, and we're in chapter 14. And we're coming up on learning more about Absalom. That was David's son. Last week we found that Absalom was restored to David in the city of Jerusalem, and David kissed him. But there's still some problems here. Family problems. Right? Family problems.
No, families don't have problems.
Let's go to verse 1, chapter 15. We're going to start chapter 15. We finished chapter 14 last week. We're going to start chapter 15. All right? Y'all ready? And it came to pass after this that Absalom prepared his chariots and horses and 50 men to run before him. Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so that when any man had a controversy, came to the king for judgment. Then Absalom called unto him and said, Of what city art thou? And he said, Thy servant is one of the tribes of Israel. And Absalom said unto him, See, thy matters are good and right, but there is no man deputed of the king to hear thee. And Absalom said moreover, O that I were made judge in the land, that every man which hath any suit cause might come unto me, and I will do him justice. And it was so that when any man came nigh to him to do obeisance, he put forth his hand and took him and kissed him. And on this manner did Absalom do to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel.
Amen.
Okay. This is interesting stuff here.
Yes, it is. Now,
Absalom, he has the royal, in verse 1 it shows you that he has the royal equipage of a prince. Horses were only used for royalty at this time in the Middle East. Okay? And he also had a royal guard. If you don't have to look it up, but 1 Kings 1:5 talks about Adonijah's royal guard. It's very similar. Okay. Now, all business was conducted early in the morning at the gate, at the city gate, and only for a specific time. And you know that Israel is a very large nation.
Right.
How many people have been called to jury duty?
I love it.
Yeah. If you,
I guess I'm the only one.
how many times have you been to jury duty and they said just go home?
Yeah.
Okay, lots of times that's happened to me.
Yeah.
They don't want to see them that day, or something like that. What would happen if you tried to do all your court business in the same day?
Not everybody would be seen.
Not everybody would be seen, and this is what is happening to David's kingdom. David's kingdom, he may be a good king, but he's not a good judge. You know what I mean? Because
the Lord didn't call him to be a judge.
Yeah, exactly, and there's things slipping through. So Absalom takes advantage of this situation, right? And he sits outside the gate and he starts talking to people, and it says that you're waiting to be heard. And the word, you have a controversy. And I looked at that word there in Hebrew, it's reeb, R-E-E-B, and it means cause strife or a suit. In other words, you're going to sue somebody, you know?
Our first politician.
I was thinking the same thing. I even wrote it down. And then he says,
really?
Yes, I did. I did. In verse 4 or 5, oh, that if I were made judge. And then, kissing little babies. I mean, kissing your... this guy, you know, he's...
And it's a perfect timing during this time, right?
Yeah.
We got all the politicals.
Yeah.
Our first politician, and we learned it from Absalom.
Yeah, and Absalom fame grows and grows because he's so, he's talking and talking and talking, and he's giving kisses. Now, this is something I started thinking about kissing. You know, the French people, you've seen them men kiss men, and the Arabic people, the men kiss each other. We in the United States, I think the only person who ever kissed me was probably my dad and some of my very best friends on the cheek or something. You know, there's none of that. Greeting with a holy kiss. So I made this form out here, this handout.
Right, the Bible kisses?
Bible kisses. And we don't have to look all these up, but if you want to, pick one out as I read through these. I do want y'all to pick one out.
Okay.
Okay. So we have examples in the Bible of fathers kissing sons. We have examples of fathers kissing sons and daughters. We have examples of brothers kissing each other. We have a son kissing his father-in-law. We find several places where friends kiss each other. We find a place in the Bible where enemies are kissed. We find a place in the Bible where a prophet kisses a king. We have a place in the Bible where the sacrifice itself is kissed. We find in the Bible feet kissed. We find idols kissed. We found people kissing each other on the lips. Then we find the betrayal with a kiss, mentioned 3 times in the Bible. And then the holy kiss, mentioned 4 times in the Bible. Then the kiss of charity, and the kiss between righteousness and peace. I like that one too. Okay, so y'all got one? You want to read it?
Genesis 31:28.
Go ahead.
Did I beat you?
Yes.
Her hand went up first. She did.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Why didn't you let me kiss my daughters and grandchildren and tell them goodbye? You had acted very foolishly.
Right. So a kiss goodbye. I didn't even write that down. Kiss goodbye. But it was for the sons and daughters on that one. Okay, who else? Joyce.
I have Psalms 85:10. Mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other.
I think that's an interesting scripture. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other.
You know, especially when you try to dissect that. That is so deep.
It is very, very deep. That one there, I put it on the very last. That's why I put it right down there instead of in the middle. Anybody else got one they want to read?
Genesis 27, 26, and 27. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Come near now and kiss me, my son." And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his clothing and blessed him, and said,
Amen.
Amen.
So kissing is something that's normal, right? Mm-hmm. It's normal.
It's normal everywhere but here.
Everywhere but here, it's normal. Isn't that weird that our customs kind of, men don't kiss men and men don't kiss their children, But men do kiss their children. But then there's the abnormal kiss too,
Well, yeah, let's not.
I mean, I almost didn't want to put the ones out in the Songs of Solomon. That I wouldn't want to share that book with anybody. I think Brian knows what I mean.
That's great.
All right, let's keep going here. Okay, so we've established that Absalom is definitely a politician.
Right.
All right, so let's go to verse 7 in chapter 15 of 2 Samuel. Absalom's going to deceive his dad. And it came to pass, and I'm reading out of the King James, and you're going to find something different. I'm going to point out something in a minute. And it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said unto the king, I pray thee, let me go and pay my vow, which I have vowed unto the Lord in Hebron. For thy servant vowed a vow while I was in Geshur in Syria, saying, If the Lord shall bring me again indeed to Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord. And the king said unto him, Go in peace. And so he rose and went to Hebron. But Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, As soon as ye hear the sound of the trumpet, then ye shall say, Absalom reigneth in Hebron. With Absalom went 200 men out of Jerusalem that were called, and they went in their simplicity, and they knew not anything. And Absalom sent for Ahithophel, the Gilonite, David's counselor, from his city, even from Gilo, while he offered sacrifices, and the conspiracy was strong, for the people increased continually with Absalom.
Got it.
Okay, just a note here, you don't have to look it up, but when this happens, David ends up writing Psalm 3. So if you want to make a reference to that as you know, he wrote that during this time. Okay, let's go back to verse 7. I bet your version, if it's not the King James Version, says something different than it came to pass after 40 years.
It did.
Mine says
mine
4.
was 4.
You says 4. You know what? I found a mistake in the King James Bible, finally. I usually find mistakes in the other Bibles, but 40. It says 40 in the King James Version. Well, I knew it was wrong because Absalom died before he was 40 years old.
Had to be wrong, didn't it?
It had to be wrong. Well, I found out why, and I know, I did not get this from a commentary. I got this from looking at it.
4 years.
40 is the Arabic word Eraba'am. Eraba'am, right? And 4 is Arabah. It has an I-M on the end of
So they
Arba.
so it was a whatchamacallit, like a little.
It may have been a fly someone hit on a piece of paper when you know what I'm saying?
Blame it on the fly.
Yeah. A little bit of fly on there made it 40 instead of 4. That gives the people that say, well, Bible isn't true because that's wrong. Well, no, the Bible's true. The King James Bible's wrong.
Right.
There we go.
All right, glory to God. Josephus, it's in the Syriac and Aramaic versions, and Josephus also, all those texts all say 4 instead
It
of...
might have, let's keep that. It might have been a bug.
Yeah, that's what I thought, you know. Okay. Now, this plot thickens quite a bit now. Absalom goes to his dad and tells him he made a vow that if I ever got back to Jerusalem and was united with my dad, I was going to go and be a good guy and sacrifice to God, right?
Right.
Well, Hebron is the place of sacrifice.
Yeah.
So this is something he uses as a ruse to go there. It was true that Absalom had said that he has different motives besides going to there to sacrifice.
Right. Well, not only that. Think about. You know what just hit me right now that we were talking. That you were reading, is that one of the things that you emphasized as we were learning in 1 Samuel and 2 Samuel, how in certain situations, without just calling him a liar, but he did lie, was King David. But then yet look at what we show our kids.
Yes.
Because how many times has Absalom now deceived David in the same sense?
Exactly
when he was
right.
killing, his brother. I mean, it goes on.
Isn't that true? Isn't it true? I mean, David was lying. We've seen him lying. He didn't repent of any of his lies.
No.
No, I mean...
Not that we know of.
Now, and maybe he didn't think he was doing anything wrong. Some people lie and they think it's okay.
Right?
And I've already told you, I don't believe it's okay at all.
Well, it's opening doors, and what is the legacy that you're leaving? I mean, what is the seed that you're planting?
Right.
And a lot of times, I see, it seems to me that the Lord will do that. The outcome of the consequence, a lot of time, will come through your children.
Absolutely. Now, David does give Absalom the blessing to go to Hebron, but he sends spies, it says in the King James. In verse 10, it might say something different in your version, does it? Spies in verse 10?
Verse 10, hold on. Mine says, but while he was there, he sent secret messengers.
Yeah,
that's a little better than spies. Usually I think a spying is somebody trying to find out information. Now, this was different.
Yeah, because he was sending messengers.
He was sending out some people called Ragal.
What's a Ragal?
A Ragal is a talebearer. Talebearer. R-A-G-A-L. And it is a talebearer. Somebody goes around spreading the news.
Tale like T-A-L-E?
Yeah, tales.
Gossiper.
A gossiper. A talebearer. Yeah. Somebody who whispers in people's ears and say, "Didn't you know what he did?" Well, this is different though. He's sending them out saying, "Hey, Absalom's coming with his troops. He's going to become king of Hebron." And you know what? He gets 200 troops, and he don't even tell them. They don't even know that they have a plot. That they're not even following Absalom. They're just doing what the prince says. So.
But that tells you another thing, though, Keith, because it's like, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. That's great.
Well, I mean, the coolness about this passage is this. It's okay. We've already established he's a politician. Now he's sending out his commercials.
Absolutely. That is true. He's sending out his campaign people.
He's doing his campaigning.
He is. It's absolutely right that way.
And I mean, and if these people would have been seeking the Lord, because even his counselor went that way. When we go to vote, I truly believe that we should all vote. But I also believe that you should know and that you seek the Lord and ask him to guide you in who you should vote for.
Absolutely.
Amen.
So Absalom played this ruse. He rode out of Jerusalem with a royal guard, and it appeared that David had declared Absalom heir to the throne. See, he was playing a trick, making everybody think that David had made him heir to the throne, but he hadn't. He hadn't done that. And the guards followed Absalom, not knowing. It says they went in simplicity, and that word in Hebrew is a little bit more easy to say. Tom means ignorance. Ignorance.
How do you spell Tom?
T-O-M, like Tom. Tom.
Oh, like
Mine
Tom,
says
like Tom.
Thomas, like Thomas, Tom.
Got you, Tom. I heard Tom. I
Yeah,
apologize.
Tom, it means ignorance. They were
Mine said
ignorant of what was going on. Okay, then we hear about this man named Ahithophel. Now, we find out Ahithophel, he committed suicide later on. I said this before, it's probably because of his name, Ahithophel. You know. But no, Ahithophel, his name actually means brother of folly, and he is the grandfather of Bathsheba.
Ah.
And he is actually David's counselor, but he has a grudge against David and Bathsheba for committing adultery and killing the Hittite, right? Uriah got killed. And it says here that he was a counselor, and that Hebrew word is Yaas, Y-A-A-S, and it means an advisor or a guide. Ahithophel was actually the advisor to the king, and he was also a traitor to the king. We're going to find out later. It says the conspiracy was strong.
Right.
The word conspiracy is gesher, G-E-S-H-E-R. It means an unlawful alliance. Okay?
Mine says it gained momentum. The conspiracy gained momentum.
It gained momentum. It was a coup, a rising up, right?
Right.
Now I found something interesting. Let's keep. Let's go ahead and read verse 13. There came a messenger to David saying, "The hearts of the men of Israel are after Absalom." Now, before I go on to the next page I have here, I have a note here. Did you notice that Israel turned to David from Saul? And now Israel's turning to Absalom from David? They're just a bunch of fickle people. You know, this king's not good enough. We need a different one.
Right.
Well, that's kind of like we say, but at least we learned in the United States to go ahead and have an election. We don't have to kill them.
Killing might be better.
I don't think so. No.
You know, God's people, unfortunately, we are like that. I mean, think about it. Think about when they were in Egypt. They saw all these wonders. All of these wonders. I mean, and then they still said, you know what? He's done left us here alone to die in the desert.
Yeah, I know. These
You know, he
fickle
took
people.
us out
Well,
of the
God called them stiff-necked, you know?
I don't know further.
Okay, let's go to verse 14. This is chapter 15 of 2 Samuel. And David said unto all the servants that were with him at Jerusalem, Arise and let us flee, for we shall not else escape from Absalom. Make speed and depart, lest he overtake us suddenly, and bring evil upon us, and smite the city with the edge of the sword. And the king's servant said unto the king, Behold, thy servants are ready to do whatsoever my lord the king shall appoint. And the king went forth and all his household after him, and the king left 10 women which were concubines to keep his house. And the king went forth and all the people after him, and tarried in a place that was far off. And all his servants passed on beside him. All the Cherethites and the Pelethites and all the Gittites, 600 men which came after him from Gath, passed on before the king. All right, verse 14. This is a fulfillment of the prophecy that Nathan gave in chapter 12. Okay? So it was prophesied that David would flee from the city, and it was also prophesied that his wives would be ravaged by somebody, by his neighbors, it said.
Right.
But why would he leave the city of Jerusalem? Did anybody have an idea why he would leave?
I was wondering about that.
Okay, I have an answer for you, but I was wondering.
Go
He
ahead.
was afraid that a lot of people would get killed.
He was afraid a lot of people would get killed, but there's one other thing about it is if he left that city, you know, when people come in to fight, they usually burn the cities down.
Right.
I mean, you've seen it in the movies. It's true. They would burn the cities down. And what was the cities made out of? Cedars from Lebanon, right? Wood. So, and he had spent the last few years building that city, building the city. Now, remember, he he failed to build God's temple. Remember? He built his own house instead.
Yeah.
Now, it says here that he left, fleeing with all the servants, and I agree with you total that he was afraid that more people would get killed if he stayed there. And David leaves behind some things called concubines.
Right.
And the word in Hebrew is, if I can say it, Pilegesh. P-I-Y-L-E-G-E-S-H.
Spell that for me one more time.
P-I-Y-L-E-G-E-S-H. I think it's pronounced Pilegesh.
Gilligish. I remember when I studied the concubines.
And they are owned women,
Right.
basically, just owned women. They are wives. They're not considered wives because they're underneath the wives. Does that make sense?
So we have a hierarchy within the wives.
You have a hierarchy within the wives. It's a harem, is what it is. It's truly a harem. That's what they had, a harem of women. Now David's fleeing into hiding, and you'll notice that a lot of mercenaries gather with him. They're all almost, it says they have a body of mercenaries from Gath. Gath is the wine press, the place of the wine press. And these people, Cherethites and Pelethites, are, the word Cherethites means executioner. So these were killers, hired killers. And the Pelethites, that name means courier or messenger. So he had messengers and he had executioners or lifeguards, bodyguards.
See, our mind just says David along with the king's bodyguards.
The king's bodyguards. That's the word Cherethites means bodyguard or executioners. Okay, they execute what the king says.
Oh, okay, that's a better word than what I was thinking about executioner.
Well, yeah, they're still
I'm
killers
thinking
though.
killers.
They're still killers
I'm
though.
thinking about the guy with the mask.
Yeah. No, we haven't made it to the Inquisition yet. That's a few years later, right? The Gittites are inhabitants of Gath, and they're also mercenaries. And Gittites are loyal followers of David. Apparently David helped them out when Saul was attacking them years ago, when they were having the war against Saul. Okay.
Okay, help me once again. Men from Gath are called what?
Men from Gath. The place of Gath is wine press, but the men from Gath are loyal followers. They're the Gittites. They are the Gittites, and the Gittites are mercenaries.
Right, because mine just said men from Gath. They didn't say.
It didn't say who they were. They're Gittites, and they're loyal followers of David. How much time do I got left? I handed out another handout. I'm not going to get that. That's 2 pages away.
Yeah.
So I won't be getting to that one. So hang on to your handouts, please, for next week if you come. Okay, let's keep going. I still got a few minutes. Now, so David has fled. Let's go to where David meets with Ittai and David. Then said the king to Ittai, the Gittite, "Wherefore goest thou also with us? Return to thy place and abide with the king, for thou art a stranger and also an exile. Whereas as thou comest by yesterday, should I this day make thee go up and down with us? Seeing I go whither I may return thou and take back thy brethren. Mercy and truth be with thee." And Ittai answered the king and said, "As the Lord liveth, and as my lord the king liveth, surely in what place my lord the king shall be, whether in death or life, even there also will thy servant be." And David said to Ittai, "Go and pass over." And Ittai the Gittite passed over, and all his men and all the little ones that were with him. And all the country wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over. And the king also himself passed over the brook Kidron, and all the people passed over toward the way of the wilderness. Okay, Ittai. I found 2 different versions said that his name meant a plowman, and I also found another word that meant near. I think it's plowman is correct. But he was a Philistine. I thought that was kind of interesting. That a Philistine.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
But you know, he might have seen what God had done through him, and he might have converted. I mean, who's
Apparently so. David had gotten friends with a lot of people that Saul had fought against. You know, he made himself allies with Saul's enemies, and so the Philistines were Saul's enemies. You know.
Although they kept chasing after David throughout.
Yeah. Right? And he would go hide and they would help him. So he knew all these people. Ittai was a foreigner, and just like David was a foreigner, basically. And he was not obliged to help David, you know. And this is what he says in verse 20. I thought it was interesting. He basically says, it's not like we're old friends. We only met yesterday. That's what he says here.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine says, you only arrived recently, and I should force you today to should I force you today to wander with us? Yeah, I kind of made myself, you know, I write my own commentary on this. David bids Ittai to take his men and go home. Right.
And he said, I can't make you go with us. So he gives David a choice. Kind of like God gives us a choice.
That's right.
Follow me or go home. Right?
Yep.
Right. True.
Ittai pledges his life to David. Did you notice that in verse 21?
Mm-hmm.
He professes to be a follower of David and his God.
Yeah.
Believing in life or death being with one another.
Yeah, mine says, I vow by the Lord and by your own life that I will go wherever you, the Lord the King, goes, no matter what happens, whether it means life or death.
In life or death, who do we follow?
The Lord.
That's right.
Exactly.
I seen the similarity here between a Philistine who's, you know, they called them dogs, you know.
Right.
And here David is allowing this dog, this person that would be normally shunned by an Israelite, to come and join his party. You know, and this man gives his life. It's the same like with us. We come before God not deserving anything.
Exactly.
And God lets us come.
He tells us again, you said that dog really means, when the Hebrews would say it really meant...
They would also call you a dead dog, but the word dog also means a male prostitute. Yes. So when you're calling somebody a dead dog, that's even worse, because a dead, stinking male prostitute. You know? I mean, that's cuss words. You know what I'm saying? You know? You don't call people that, you know? But they do sometimes in the Bible. We see it quite often. I'm almost out of time. Let me go. I need to finish this one little section. Just a couple more things. They passed over the brook Kidron after leaving Jerusalem, and the brook Kidron is only filled with water during certain times of the year when the snows would melt in the mountains. So they passed over this brook, and it was a sad departure. You think about it. Your king fleeing from his holy city into the wilderness. You know, that's pretty sad. And of course, he leaves. We're going to find he leaves the priest behind. That's going to be next week when we study that. And this wilderness is the word is midbar, and it means the desert, because the areas out there were desert and mountains and trees. They had a lot. If you ever been to the Middle East, I have not, but I've seen pictures of it. It is a very beautiful place that has mountains and deserts and forest. So it's a beautiful place to go. Okay, well, that's all the time I got this week. So next week we're going to study the ark, when the ark is sent to Jerusalem, okay? And
verse 24.
Verse 24 is where we left off for next week. God bless y'all.